Welcome back to Kaulignation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, Dingernation, SVGNation, and all things NASCAR. In today's video, we are going to be previewing the most famous racetrack on planet Earth, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this upcoming weekend. Our question for this video, or multiple choice question for this video is, do you prefer, for NASCAR purposes, the INDY Oval or the INDY Road Course? Comment down below and share your thoughts there. Big shout out to our channel sponsors, Lynn over at SVGNation on Facebook and Alex over at Dingernation on Facebook. Appreciate all you do. And if you're interested in bonus content, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Kaulignation. We're doing some recording for that as we record this video, actually. And if you're signed up on Patreon, you would have already had the video we record over there. So be on the lookout for that. Without further ado, though, Ryan joins me for this one. Dude, you go to Indy a lot. Maybe not for NASCAR purposes, but you've been to the facility a ton. Maybe talk to us a little bit about what we can expect this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been to 26 Indianapolis 500s, and I've been to one Brickyard 400. So I've definitely been to that speedway numerous times. It is the holy grail of racetracks.
Hopefully the Brickyard 400 you went to is the one that they could drive more than 10 laps without popping tires.
I did, but it was also Paul Menard's one and only win, so that was unfortunate. He won it on fuel mileage over Jeff Gordon, if I remember right, but that was quite a few years ago now. But yeah, the track in and of itself stands on a pantheon of the all-time greats. I mean, you can talk about Le Mans, you can talk about Monaco, and you can talk about Indianapolis. And Indianapolis, in my humble opinion, stands far above everything else. Just the facility, being on those hallowed grounds, that it means something to be there. And I am, as much as road courses benefit both AJ and SVG, I am happy it's back on the Oval. The Oval means a lot more, I think, to not just the drivers, but to the fans as well. So, the pageantry of the race and the events and the bricks and everything that goes along with it, it's just one of those places that it might not race the best, but it is without a question one of the crown jewels of NASCAR. And if you win this race, it is a milestone moment for any driver's career. And truthfully, it also has a very high indicated rate of predicting champions. The years that drivers win the Brickyard 400, also going on to win the championship, is actually very high. It's pretty close to 50%. So it separates the very best from the rest of the pack. So Brickyard 400 weekend, I'm very excited for it. I'm hoping for a great race. Last year's race was a little underwhelming, but also kind of come to expect it for this place.
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate and say in this current car that the road course is better fit for its needs than the Oval. I just don't think the Oval racing has been great there, specifically not last year, and I think the road course races there were actually a ton of fun. So that's just me, though. All right, so let's dive into this. Let's talk about the three guys we cover a lot on this channel this weekend, or for this weekend. Pardon me. We'll start with SVG. So SVG is coming off of 3 road course wins in pretty short order. We talked about last week if the team itself could carry some momentum over to Dover, and obviously we knew he wasn't going to go out there and win or frankly even run top 5 or top 10 at Dover. But we talked about in our staff chat, if SVG could have a top 20 kind of day, that would be a big step in the right direction on ovals, because Dover is not an easy track to race at, especially when you're not used to it. There was no practice, no qualifying, brand new tire. He had to start 6th, and really a tire puncture super early on ended his day because he went 4 laps down. And at Dover, unless you're going to get a parade of cautions in that first stage, it's lights out right out of the gate. Obviously, he went on to continue the race and got some experience, but what do you expect out of SVG at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Obviously, not every corner is the same, but he is driving an ECR-powered car, and at this track, they've just not been very good. They all those engines seem to lack speed.
Yeah, I definitely don't have high expectations this weekend for any of the drivers, truthfully, but it's a track position race. It's always been a track position race, and if you can get your strategy right, you can potentially find a finish that maybe you weren't necessarily going to get otherwise. And we have seen in the past, RCR has been okay. Obviously, this new car, this new engine, this new tire is very different than 10, 15 years ago. But Kevin Harvick was really good here. And even Ty Dillon and Austin Dillon have ran decent here. So I won't say it's out of the realm of possibility to have a good race. But as I mentioned at the top, this track tends to separate the best from the rest. And while SVG has certainly shown improvements, this is definitely going to be a race that I think tests not just him, but the equipment as well. I will say that he performed very well last year in the Xfinity race. In fact, he finished sixth or seventh on merit, drove to the front, had a really strong car. If I remember right, he was actually in the top 5 towards the end. So he seemed to take a liking to this track. But obviously the Xfinity car is not the next gen car. And you can't really pass. We saw a pretty long parade last year. So I think if they can get some strategy right, not make any mistakes, obviously a tire issue is kind of out of your, can't really control that. But, you got to have a perfect race to get a good finish here. And if they can put it together like they did the road courses, then I think they could find a top 15, top 20, but it would be mostly on strategy, I think, not necessarily on pure pace. I would expect them to run pretty close to 30s, low 30s this weekend.
Yeah, I kind of expect all those guys to be there, including AJ and Ty. There's an inability to pass at this track, which for me sucks the excitement factor just right out of it. This should be a track where there's all sorts of passing going down the straightaways and dive bombing into turns, and it was a long Christmas parade last year that was a bore fest for me. So my excitement level is just not there at all for this weekend. I wish that we could sit here and go, okay, well, maybe AJ or Ty or even SVG will unload with some speed this weekend, but I'm firmly a, see it, believe it kind of guy. And at tracks like this, it reminds me of Michigan as well, where they just don't seem to bring a lot of speed. And when you're not bringing a lot of speed, it's hard to compete at a place like this. So for me, if any of those guys can somehow score a top 20, that's huge. I don't expect any of them to score a top 20. AJ could use one because just the rotten luck he's had that we spoke about in our Patreon video that would be out by the time you guys are all listening to this. And then Ty, who obviously I want to, pass Ty Gibbs and win this in-season challenge and be the Cinderella man. He's got his work cut out for him too, because Gibbs cars traditionally do run well here, and it's going to be hard. But Ty Gibbs does shoot himself in the foot quite a bit, and Ty Dillon's come this far, so I'm promptly and firmly wearing my number 10 hats going into this weekend, rooting on Ty to just find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I don't expect him to outrun the Gibbs cars or Ty Gibbs this weekend, but that's why you show up to the racetrack. You don't know what's going to happen on any given race day. You have to get there. You have to perform. You have to not make mistakes. Anything can happen, and I hope, and this maybe is a pipe dream, but I really do hope, because he's in the final of this competition, that Chevy steps up and gives him a little bit more sim time this week. The RCR equipment is what it is. We're not going to change that, but anything to help give them a bit of a leg up this weekend, it would be good for Chevy as well. Let's not get it twisted. This would be a big deal for Chevy to win this. It's more notoriety, more airtime. They want him to win this. So I'm hoping that there's a little bit of extra support there. Will it equate to more speed? Probably not, but you gotta shoot for it, right? You've made it this far. You got a chance. Put your best foot forward, and we'll see where it falls at the end of the week. But I do think it's going to be very hard to beat the Gibbs cars this weekend, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all to keep up with all of our content. Check us out on Patreon for bonus content, patreon.com/Kaulignation. And we will see each and every one of you in the next video.